All right, perfect. So our roadmap, we're going to meet our agent panel. The topics we're going to cover is content utilization and creation. That's with Allison. Using bulk mail to your advantage. It's with Butch, relationship building via events. That's Shelly Treader Lynch. And a follow-up system with my one and only Boris. And then we'll have some Q&A. So let's meet our panelists. Allison Goodhart is from the Goodhart Group at the DMV. Butch Hayes is from the Butch Hayes Group in San Francisco. Boris Fabricant from Fabricant Bond Team NYC. And Shelly Treader Lynch in Greenwich and Nantucket is our fourth panelist. So Allison, let's talk about content utilization and creation. So just quickly, just do a quick intro for yourself and a quick fun fact.
Sure. My name is Allison Goodhart, and I was the founding agent of the Old Town Alexandria office in Northern Virginia, which is just outside DC. So serve the whole greater DC metro area. Fun fact, I usually go with that I'm obsessed with hot sauce. I'm like a hot sauce aficionado and put it on pretty much every single meal, even breakfast.
It's low calories too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into content utilization, right? So what is the success that you've had with this approach?
Yeah, so content utilization is probably, I would say, responsible for a ton of our business. Last year, I can say it was directly responsible for about 17% of our total GCI, which was 140 million. So about 23 million in volume directly from content utilization. But basically, I would say that like all of our past client, all of our Sphere deals, all of our open house deals, all kind of benefit from the content creation too. So I think it's the real number is probably significantly higher.
So let's talk about, so when you talk about content creation, like what is the model that they can mirror that your team uses so successfully?
Looked like I got muted. Sorry. Did you miss anything?
Yes. So
all right, now I think you're muted. I think I'm good to go though. So I'm gonna roll on. So basically I started really getting heavy into creating content when we started our website, but really everyone can do it and everyone's already doing it. So anytime you're answering a question from a client or talking to somebody about the market, it's really, that's content creation. So the first way I started was writing down any question I got more than once from a client. I would write out a detailed answer. And at first I started just sending it in a saved email. And then I graduated that towards writing a blog on our website. And now I utilize pretty much everything from, a million different channels, posting on social media, doing a direct mail campaign, using it as a link in my lead follow-ups. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use it, but I would say start by basically answering questions that you answer all day long. And that's the easiest way to start because we're all creating content all the time. We're just not necessarily utilizing it across all of the channels that we can and getting like the most bang for your buck.
So really the action step, right, is start documenting your FAQs.
Yeah, everything you get asked more than once, I write it down and I put it on my blog, but you could just create a PDF. If you don't have a website, you could create a flip book. So yeah, document all the questions you get all the time.
This doesn't sound like a silly question, but this is where people get stuck. When people ask you these things, is, you're always on the go and in different places. Where do you save them all?
So I write all of mine in the Google Drive on a Google Doc, but I mean, you could write it wherever, whatever your kind of personal system is, but I have a Google Drive. You can use your Compass Google Drive, and I have a folder that I create just for anytime I get a question more than once, I write it down. And then when I have time, I go in and kind of type out the response.
Perfect. So,
and actually, sorry, the first time I did it was I was at a real estate conference in Miami many years ago. And I had a client say, oh, I really want to have a call at like 9:30 p.m. tonight to go over this contract. And I was like, oh gosh, I really don't want to do that. So I went through and I documented any possible question I could think would come up that we hadn't covered yet and reiterating what we had. And that was probably over 10 years ago that I created this like super detailed email. And I've turned that into a blog that I have on, do ads around. I get people all the time. I send it to all of our clients when they're in the process. So really just like being really thoughtful about, those questions and making sure that you're saving your own time really by using it as much as you can.
And you found that if by posting these onto your website that they actually get indexed into Google and you're getting free unpaid traffic?
Yeah. So basically our website performs very well now because we just started putting a ton of content on the website. So there's the real estate stuff, which performs well, but honestly, we get the biggest amount of web traffic from local content. So best coffee shops in Alexandria, best fitness studios in Alexandria, all the preschools. Like I just signed a client this morning that I originally met a few years ago at the first day of preschool. And she's like, oh my God, Allison Goodhart, I picked this preschool because I went through, I just moved to the area and I picked the school based on, your blog. So.
And before we end with you, I think there's one thing that I just picked up. All of these names of articles are literally exactly what people Google.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's really not hard. You don't have to like rack your brain for anything. It's super easy things that you talk to people about all the time and that you can write honestly very, very fast.
That's perfect. Well, one, thank you for sharing that. She has, as you can see, with benefits, tips, and she'll kind of go in depth a little bit more in a recap email. But look, I think for all of us, right, for everyone sitting here, in essence, we say mindset coaching is the ability to think through something differently. I want you to think through the conversations that you all have differently and document everything. And please do it on a cloud-based thing. I think a Google Doc is perfect. You can access it on your phone. And really the whole point we always say of data and documenting anything is so that you can make future decisions off it. So thank you so much, Allison, for your time and generosity.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Butch, my man.
Hey everybody. Thanks, Allison. That just ignited like 10 ideas for me. I swear to God, I'm always like, what am I going to post about this week? Or what can I talk about? So thank you.
Love it.
So Butch, man, bulk email. You have such great stuff about this. So why don't you tell yourself, tell us your one fun fact, because you always have something interesting to say.
Yeah, I shared the other day too, that a cat just showed up at our door. And my family's like, I think that this is now our cat. And I was like, we're not taking in a cat. I don't want a cat. Like, we didn't even get to pick a cat. And then I go through Chirag Coaching and he's like, who's on your team? How'd they get on your team? And I'm like, my whole team are cats. They're all people that just showed up one day. And 2 years of coaching with Chirag has really been amazing for me in terms of just like helping me organize my business and not having just random cats in my life. And so that's why I'm tugging or in a tug of war with my family right now, but I am losing the battle. But for those of you, I can't recommend it enough. I do not get paid. This is true, sincere stuff that when I've had, I remember the first thing, the playbook, I heard a line, I've been trying to look for it. And I used it on a client the very first next day, and it worked brilliantly. And so anyway, just want to share that with you guys. What I love about it is how Chirag leverages the Compass tools. And with that bulk mail, I never was using it. I use it all the time now. And even one of my new teammates that came aboard, she's like, Butch, what do I do? How do I get leads? I have about 10 to 15 people that are just friends that work in the Beach Street office or around the Bay Area that call me all the time and just say, Butch, how can I generate more leads? How can I get more business? And I always share this one thing, like I had a big database, right? We just downloaded everything. I was really nervous because I wanted to do it the right way. And everybody's like kind of nervous. Some of you can answer, is your CRM organized or not? Mine was not. And I was like, how do I do this? I have like 9,000 names. So I just did like, it's called type forms. It's really easy, or Google has one as well. And all we did is said, hey, during COVID, a lot of people moved. How do you know Butch? And it was just like one little thing. It was just like a cute little email. And I got like 2,000 responses that clicked in because I did it on a Saturday morning. And everybody that clicked, we just called them clickers. It was really easy to just tag and say clicker. So I took a 9,000 person database and all of a sudden it's 2,000. Now I know these 2,000 people like me or hate me, right? But now they're engaged. So now I can break it down even faster. And so then what I thought is, along what Allison shared, right, is like, how do I use bulk mail to get really quick answers? So if you're in California, the last month, it has rained like nonstop. Like we've never seen it. Like I don't know how people in Seattle do it. And it just poured and poured and poured. Everybody's house was flooded. So all I did is I sent a quick little email to everybody. And I went through every year, right? So every day I did a different year. And I just typed in there, are you okay? Do you need any help with any contractors or anything? That's all it said. Are you okay? And all of a sudden, like my assistant that was doing it was like, I was like, holy shit, you didn't send it to those guys. That one guy's a billionaire client. Like I can't reach out. Those guys were the first to respond. Like, oh, thanks for checking in, Butch. I'm doing great. A lot of rain, right? So double clicker, right? And it was just amazing. This like really short question, didn't have to be a long email, had amazing response. And a lot of people are like, God, it's been so long. Da, 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 da. It's a great way to reach out. So I encourage you, whatever's going on in your area, in your city, just be like, hey, the weather's killer right now. How have you been? Just really short. And again, you can label them clickers. The other thing is my sales rep was like, what do I do, Butch, with my time? How do I get leads? And I said, all these people are like, ooh, how am I going to get a listing? How am I going to get a listing? Right? Who am I going to call? I got to do some open houses. I said, have a spreadsheet, have a trust attorney, have a contractor, have an architect, a designer, right? Divorce attorney, wealth manager, and have 1 through 5 on your board, right? And if you don't have 5 trust attorneys, like I have 1 trust attorney right now that's probably given me 7 deals in the last year, right? That's just one leg. Divorce attorney, regular trust attorney, right? If you don't have 5 people, if you don't have any, what I want you to do is send a bulk mail to your friends and say, hey, does anybody have a good trust attorney? You're going to get responses. Send it to 100 friends. Hey, does anybody have a good wealth manager? Now you're going to call the wealth manager and say, hey, Debbie recommended you, and I'm looking for a wealth manager to partner with. Are you looking for more business? Yeah, actually I am. Or no, I'm not. Okay, great. If they say yes, go, would you mind coming to a luncheon? I'm going to sponsor a luncheon and have an event. I'd love for you to talk. If it's a divorce attorney, you say, hey, we're going to do a covert thing. Like, how do we set people up for success if they're getting divorced? Everyone wants to get divorced through COVID, after COVID. I'm kidding. Sorry. And then like contractors, right? And so if you're filling out this sheet of the spreadsheet, right, that it's linear in the way I do it, you have stuff to do. All these people can refer you business instantly. Tax attorneys, land use attorneys, trust attorneys, designers. That's who you can be calling on all the time. Hey, can we grab coffee?
Do you think in our follow-up email, we can, for like the intro emails to all these people, do you think we put one message under each one for them so they at least have just something to copy and paste in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, hey, everybody, like literally the bulk mail is, hey, dear Jim or whatever the person's name, right? You can do first name and you just say, hey, I'm looking for a great trust attorney for another client of mine. Who would you recommend? That's it.
So Suze, on here, let's just make a note for Butch's thing that we'll put the intro bulk email in there. And for all of you that wonder like what coaching is like, this is what it is. We want to just give you the stuff so you just hit a button and do it, and it just integrates into the platform. And we'll record a quick little screen record video that actually there's, Butch, this is the coolest thing. And I know you're going to love this. Remember, I think I showed you guys this on the mastermind call yesterday. There's actually a toggle signature button, right? So if you hit toggle signature, you hit no signature, it removes your whole signature. And you type that message and you just put a dash and says, sent from my iPhone. Please excuse the typos, Shrek. And then people literally think you actually took the bulk email and actually wrote it on their phone and sent it to them. And that increases the response rate significantly as well.
Yeah.
Too.
And it's really easy to do. And so the really dynamic part is you take this lead, right? So you're calling on these people and then you say, hey, do you want to do a luncheon or a seminar or happy hour? And then you're giving them clients, right? And then anybody that receives stuff like that, right? And like maybe they get 1 or 2 clients out of it. they're going to be thinking the whole time, like, how do I do something good for Butch? And that's the reciprocation and all those things that just create energy and deal flow. And it's so easy. And everybody doesn't have 5 contractors, 5 attorneys, 5 trust attorneys, 5 designers, 5 architects. And you just keep working this list and keep using bulk mail to like ask different friends different questions. And you can, it's converting what Allison shared, just like using bulk mail, and then you have stuff to talk about, or do a Zoom and do an interview, right? Like, hey, there's some really good important questions that you should know about, or all those things. So anyway, hope that helps.
Thank you, Butch. That was great. So bulk email, everybody. I think personally, that's like one of my top 2 favorite tools to Compass. And now let's get into relationship building via events with my dear friend, Shelly Tretter-Lynch. Shelly?
Okay, I just needed to unmute myself. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm Shelly Tretter-Lynch. I am a founding member of the Greenwich, Connecticut office, and I'm also a founding member of the soon-to-be Nantucket bricks and mortar office with my partner, Mary Beth Gilmartin, in Nantucket, Massachusetts. We've been doing a lot of work at her dining room table, and we've had great success. So there's a will, there's a way to build your business. I chose this topic because, having been in the business for many years, our markets, whether it's Greenwich or Lower Fairfield County, Connecticut, or Nantucket, these are all relationship communities. It's, they're not building buildings where there are 100 units to sell. So, some of the tactics and that other brokers have had great success with doesn't really work for me and my community. So I've always started saying, why would someone really want to, work with Shelly? What would be the reason why they would go to me rather than the other 1,000 brokers who represent just, Greenwich, Connecticut? And I offer them a lot. I don't ask, I give a lot. I give a tremendous amount of information to people. I am there for them. The relationship aspect of it is extremely time consuming, but it's what's necessary in my markets. And it's also necessary if I'm looking for loyalty, which doesn't always happen regardless of what you do. Longevity with clients. I've always been known in bad markets to keep clients for a long time, or their listings for a long time, because I look at this as a partnership to work with them and whatever it is that I'm doing. And I think it's really important. And I think people who are coming from outside of the community want to feel immediately that they're part of what's going on in the community. And I have always been a proponent of events at my listings. And, I've done this. I've always done this, whether it was a land planning event, my first year of real estate, and what would I know about that? 28 years ago, I hired the best, land planners in Lower Fairfield County, and I gave seminars. I started getting a lot of buyers for land and new development. And that was my background before sales. So, I think you position yourself and be really authentic to yourself and what it is that you're comfortable with. I happen to have many luxury properties that I represent. One of them, I did a McLaren event with the Greenwich Magazine, and we probably had 150 people in a 4-hour period, and they could drive McLarens. What the key to that is that McLaren had their 100 people that they were inviting to drive these cars. I invited clients and customers and friends. But here I had 100 people that I had maybe never met before, or I had, but maybe they hadn't looked at me in that real estate realm as business. And I was associating myself and aligning myself with a luxury brand. I also have done, I love Women of Compass, and I'm one of the people that represents Women of Compass in this area. But I love actually having wealth managers come to a luncheon curated for maybe 20 women at the most. It's a small group of people. I've had a sushi chef there. We've had people, the best in the business, giving, advisory information to people, to women who are highly educated, and they're looking for, their own financial, they come with their own financial questions. How does that parlay into real estate? The husband isn't there. Many women are buying their own properties themselves. They're sometimes driving, the driving force behind a home purchase. But by giving them information at a property that is at a very elevated level, and it's just a small, intimate affair based on information. I had been for years one of the partners and a vice chair of the Luxury Marketing Council in Connecticut and Hudson Valley. It really took a different turn during COVID because no one could meet. But I did that for years because I was aligning myself with all these other luxury brands. So I would have events, a cocktail party. I'd have a curated event at an art gallery. And, you only have to have a few people, 12 people attend something in a small space to make it successful. And if you walk away with one really good relationship that turns into potentially many deals, it is so worth the time. And it's interesting to these people. They want, I had a Ferrari event. They want to drive these cars. That this was done. I aligned myself with Compass Corporate and did that. And that was a national event. And we had the people that we had come through it was 3 days. It was amazing. I wanted to sleep there. the excitement, the level of energy that, was brought through this property was exceptional. And so I think that you need to be the person who people think to go to for other things other than real estate. I mean, we all, everyone on this call is like amazing in their business. They've all done really well. And I think that you have to put yourself out there, and it's uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable for me. I'm, the biggest, in a way, introvert, although people think I am an extrovert. I would prefer to come home and be on the computer and put things together for marketing. But you need to get yourself out there and do these things and meet people face to face. I'm a big face-to-face person. I think, if you don't have the information, you get it for someone. But I'm also not someone who pressures anyone. I'm sure most people don't, but I really don't. And I just want people to know they can call me over a period of a year or 2 years. And then, many pieces of business have come my way because of that. As, taking feverish notes with Allison and Butch talking. And I agree with absolutely everything that they're saying. And that's another component to keeping yourself in the forefront of a whole market that is your community. And maybe you're selling multiple communities. I've done a lot of philanthropic endeavors in Greenwich. I've actually pulled myself away from some of them. It's incredibly time consuming. I started it because I really needed a space to go to help people, as opposed to, I felt like so many people were taking so much out of me on a business level. And this was my way of giving back. I was on a few boards. I co-chaired so many events in a period of 10 years. And when you're on boards and you're co-chairing events and you're with people who align themselves with your vision of what the community should be, they trust you in other aspects of their life. They see how you react, how you pull, an event for 600 people together, how you, at board meetings, you talk about ideas to bring people together. They look at you as a business person and an expert in your field. And, through those different, events and boards that I was a part of, and I still am a part of, they call you, they want your real estate advice. I don't go and say, hi, I want to sell your house, or they've come to me. So I haven't actually had to reach out to them. But I've put myself out there in another way. I may buy a table or 2 tables. And, that's just something I allocate in my personal budget to do that. And I invite clients, I invite friends, I invite attorneys, people who I feel would actually enjoy each other at a table. And I'm very careful who I sit with who. But when you're, getting up to speak to a group of X amount of people, and they see that you're involved and you're a serious person, and they want to associate themselves with you. I love having swag at certain events. It depends on what it is. Sometimes it's not, appropriate. but I always put, an event sponsored by my name, the company name, Compass, what I'm doing, so that people know there's that reference. Yes.
So I want to just pull this together with people because you have a
Sure.
lot of good information, guys. So look, what she's really laying out is almost like a social engineering blueprint, right? So when we do our recap, we'll pull these things together. But as you can see from hearing her incredible experience and story of how she's grown such a successful business, it seems that one thing organically leads to the other, right? So, it's 0 to 1, find a place to get started. Shelly seems like she's very present. She's a contributor. And the only goal that she has is making the most out of the experience and really building great relationships. Relationships is a long-term game. As you heard, she said that she'll get a lot of business a year, 2 years later. So, some people are transactional, some people are relational, and she's very relational. So you have been so generous with the amount of information you've shared. So can we download all this stuff and make it into like a little, let's get started with events blueprint for everybody?
Absolutely. I'm happy to put that together.
Yeah. And thank you so much for doing that. And I actually, if I had a pen and a piece of paper with all three of you, I could take notes. So, the interesting thing doing the panels for us is sometimes I want to type and I'm thinking to my team members, I hope you guys are writing this down. So we have our last panelist, the one and only Boris Fabrikant. Many of you might have seen Boris because he actually does a lot of things like this in sales meetings across the country. And if you ever want a great guest to your sales meeting that really knows the platform in and out, Boris will be your man. So Boris, you have to anchor us home now.
All right. Thanks, guys. Allison, Butch, Shelly, amazing stuff. I'm excited to implement stuff that you have all mentioned. I want to say a couple of things, but I want to also tie back to something Chirag said twice. My little tech tips and fun fact about me. I'm obsessed with less clicks. Anything I can do in life that I can shorten the amount of time I spend on something is what I obsess about, to the point where, fun fact, my entire house is programmed with, if I say her name, she will talk to me right now, but literally lights, switches, garages, thermostats, everything. I create all these programs. So it's a fun fact about me. I geek out about technology, including in my house. What I want to talk about for this segment is, once you've implemented a lot of these strategies, you're going to have all these people floating around. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of, oh, well, they're getting my newsletter once a month, and you just hope that they'll respond. But the reality is, unless you're adding value and you're constantly in their inbox with something that they're reading and appreciating, you're going to potentially lose them. Another thing I just want to say is, for everyone on this call, you may be thinking, oh my God, how am I going to implement the social media, the events, the bulk mail? There's so many things. Just remember, we're all talking about some of the things that we've created expertise on. I don't think any one of us has perfected all of these things and all the others. So I highly recommend pick one, stick to it, perfect it, obsess about it. And once you've done something really well, then move on to the next one, because it is overwhelming and anxiety driven if you're trying to do too many things at once. By the way, one other lead gen thing I have to share that I think is amazing. There are tons of loan officers sitting in retail banks. You can go to your local Chase or Citibank or any local branch, talk to the person that gets funneled through anybody that's asking about a loan. That person is losing business to you. That person, anytime that they're talking to a new lead, eventually doesn't get to do business with them because the broker that person ends up working with has a loan officer. So it's a really great mutually beneficial thing when you tell that person, hey, instead of you losing your business to all the other brokers, how about we partner up? Send me everybody you talk to and I'll make sure to push them back to you. That was one of the first things I started doing. I highly recommend it. So here's just a couple tips. I don't want to dwell for too long. Bulk mail, I am obsessed with. Butch, I love the clickable thing. I've discovered that there was something we did that had the highest response rate, and it was by accident. One of which is we would use bulk mail to people that come to open houses, and once in a while say, hey, I just saw this property. And I intentionally say I saw this property because I could have just saw it online or I saw it in person. So anytime I see something in collections, I say, hey, just saw this, thought of you. What do you think? And there would be a hyperlink. One day I forgot to put in the hyperlink and I was like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I made such a big mistake. It went from 2 out of 100 people responding to 80 out of, it was insane. So once in a while, slip it in and accidentally forget to add the hyperlink. You'll be surprised. And it's so reinvigorating because you're like, oh my God, these people are reading it. There's a heartbeat here. So that's one little trick. The other one is, and I forget where I learned this, but we drill this with our team and we're constantly seeing how well it works. After a few follow-ups, you kind of run out of things to say and ask them. Try this, I hope I'm not being a pest. Just wanted to see if you're still interested in this property. The moment people see you referring to yourself as potentially being a pest, they feel bad. They feel like, oh my God, I'm human. I don't want them to think they're this horrible. They'll respond so much more. There's such a higher response rate. Let's see. The other thing, just so you guys know, whenever we have people in our sphere that we're trying to follow up with, we don't like to do newsletters as much as providing value. So what we're constantly pushing is, I'm just going to use one example. You meet people at an open house, or you meet people that are renters that are going to become buyers. When you're following up with them, think of what's really relevant for them. Think of what is going to lead that person that came to your open house to work with you as opposed to someone else. And what we're constantly doing is we're sending them batches of emails that are super valuable to any buyer. So for example, in New York City, there's a lot of closing costs and each one of them has their own nuances. So we'll send an overall one. Then we'll say something like, hey, do you know that the mortgage tax is your highest closing cost? Here's how you save money on it. People love seeing stuff like that because saving money is one of the biggest values a broker could bring. We'll send things like, let me just think through here from blanking for a second. We'll even send them an email that says, here are the benefits of hiring a buyer's broker. In our city, there's actually, it's one of the rare places where you can represent the seller and the buy side. So we're constantly telling them why they should really use a buyer's broker because some people don't want to. I think that's all I have in my notes. Let me just see if there's anything else. I will add to the script stuff. I'll try to put in everything I possibly can. The other thing I recommend you guys share with buyers is put together a buyer's guide. One thing we say to people we meet is it's impossible to Google all the things a buyer should know about buying real estate in X city. We created a glossary of terms. That's something that's been really valuable. In New York City, there's things thrown around like appraisal, abatement, assessment, all of these terms that are flying around. They're so specific to our region. People love seeing a glossary of terms. It's almost like, here's everything you need to know about buying. And it's not just the one pager that Compass likely has for your region. That's a great place to start. Ours is about 40 pages long. We created an encyclopedia that we're constantly adding to.
Oh, Boris. Boris's fun fact that him and his partner both used to be lawyers, by the way. So this is, it's very
not fun. That's boring.
So look, I think, Boris, look, you've added a ton. What is this follow-up then? That was the last one I watched.
So this is one of my favorite things. Go to followupthen.com, create an account. It has changed my life. Anytime I respond to somebody that I want to make sure I don't forget, I basically type in every 2 days at followupthen.com or next week at followupthen.com. It saves me so much time because what it's doing is it's kicking it back into your inbox at whatever iteration you're putting in. So it just goes in the BCC line. You can do it from your phone. You can do it from any platform. Somebody says to me today, hey, Boris, I need to put this on pause. My wife's due in April. Let's pick it up in June. Great, Jim. Talk to you then, blah, blah, blah. BCC, June 2 at followupthen.com. I am going to get that email back in my inbox on June 2nd. You could do it for anniversaries. There's a million ways to use it. And it's changed the way I work because you can just do it in real time and you don't have to plug it into a CRM or a calendar or anything like that.
That is, I think that's my favorite. I'm definitely downloading that right away. So look, guys, we have some time for some questions here. So let's see what the fun ones are in the chat. Who has something? Can you send us that text message? Yes.
Follow up then can also send you texts into your phone in the future as well. So you could say 2 days at followupthen.com, but if you do 2 days -SMS at followup.com, it'll put the
I'm
subject.
going to kick this question to Allison. Do you use action plans or any follow-ups? Action plans? You seem like you would.
I do. Yes.
You tell a little bit more about that?
I pretty much have an action plan set up for almost every stage of the system in a client workflow. So for example, like if I meet someone at an open house, I do have an action plan for that. I don't employ that with everybody. I'll use that for the people I didn't have as strong of a rapport with, and I'm still sending the individual email. I don't like the automated ones because I want to make sure that I'm kind of keeping an eye on it. But we have it when we have a new client that we booked an appointment for, or once an agreement signed, once once they're under contract, once they're closed. So basically every point in the process, I have a list of, every touch point I want to happen throughout our team and kind of what the email templates are that go along with it. Again, just back to what, several people have said on the panel today, saving time. It saves so much time. And I also use Follow Up Then and Boomerang, which is a similar program. But all of these are ways to save yourself so much time when again, like using repeatable processes over and over.
That's amazing. So I have, so guys, that's something you want to take a note of, right? Look, I'm going to reiterate what Boris says. Do not try to do everything at once. Pick one thing you really want to do, focus in and get it accomplished. So Shelly, this question is about how much lead time do you have in planning an event? A month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? Just give us a range that people should kind of go by rule of thumb.
Well, it actually depends on the event and who's involved, how many people. If it's a little bit more organic and it's everyone I know really well planning it, we can pivot quickly to put something together. I had just as an example, I had a dinner for 25 people for a property that was over 25 million. And we did it in 10 days and we had 12 billionaires there. And not that I'm going to be selling all these billionaires right now a property, but they were invited through people I know, and it was a very curated, coveted dinner party. And it was so lovely that we just didn't talk about, we talked about everything. It was, and so we did that. And, I think that was a week and a half, 10 days. I mean, it was really a quick, and it was a lot of work. But it ended up that my clients were beyond thrilled. They were there. And it just showed, the reach of being able to pick up the phone and call someone, and it benefited everyone involved. So it was a really nice event.
And so our last question is, Butch, when you do these Zooms, right, to share value from some of your vendors, generally, what do you find the best day and time?
I think Fridays are always like, it seems like for real estate agents and for everybody, it's a lighter day. And so again, going back to Shelly and Allison, curating these events, or curating people to come speak and doing a Zoom, like asking some questions. I love the repeatable questions where you hear multiple times people have asked, like what's the importance of a trust? Or, I love this when there's a lot of buyers out there that have kids. I'm like, have you set up a trust yet? A lot of the 30 somethings, like they haven't, right? And like setting up a 529 Schwab plan. I didn't know that until I was like 40. And like, I have all these friends that started way earlier. Like no one ever told me. So these are really cool things. That can be like, oh, you got to set up a trust. You got to do this, a will, like you just had a baby. Like you have your insurance set up, life insurance, all that stuff. And, people really appreciate that. So I get all these people. And then of course, they're like, wow, that was so great. Can I bring my friend? Or, invite all your friends that just had kids, because so many people have pack babies, like they all have babies around the same time. So
Thank you guys. So look, these agents, well, look, I can't be more grateful for all of you taking your time. And I'd be a hypocrite of the coach if I didn't say, like, an hour of your time is, for many of these people, it's $1,000+ of an investment. And all of you guys have taken time. And I want all of you guys to know this. They all took time to go through, share a topic, sit on a pre-prep call. They're spending time after. And this really shows what community really is. It's people that care about each other, people you could rely on, and people that really just want to contribute to make other people's businesses and lives ultimately better. So for that, I can't say thank you enough. And for all of these people, I'm working with all of them coaching. Some of them are Shelly, Butch, and Allison, our mastermind group. Boris and I have been working together, I think, for the 4.5 years I've been here. I've been, him and I geek out in a room. And look, I believe that everyone should invest in a coach. If Michael Jordan does, I think we all could do it. And same thing with Kobe Bryant. So for those of you that want to learn this new system that we've done that has over 600 people a day and is really the first done for you plug and play system where we do the work for you, you just hit the buttons and we outline everything, I encourage you to stay on. We have this program open till Sunday at midnight, and then it officially closes till June. So we open up our playbook twice a year. And after it's open, once we close it, all of our time as a company goes towards this. And so, as a team, part of the reason our program's grown so quickly is we have 8 employees here, 5 whom used to work at Compass. So everything we have essentially is built for this platform and built for your brokerage. So let me just share my deck and I'm going to go through this with all of you.
By the way, shameless plug, Chirag, my whole team is now jumping in and they're loving it. So anyone that hasn't signed up, I highly recommend it.
So what is the playbook? Really, we all came here for Compass for the platform. And when you think about coaching, you really want one program and one playbook. And when you think about one platform, one program, one playbook, think about your cell phone, right? If your business or where you're going to get advice, one's in Android, one's Microsoft, one's iOS, it's really confusing. So everything we built is for Compass, the tools, your brokerage, and what's working for Compass agents now. We have about 1,000 agents plus across the country in 28 different states, and we only work with Compass brokers. So really, what does this look like? Mondays and Tuesdays are really simple. I do one call each day at 2 separate times, different segments, 9:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. That is a commitment. Remember, we talked about in the beginning, the time in, the time out. So you're investing at minimum 2 hours. And then various days each week, we have expert mentor sessions on specific hard to tackle concepts, from tax planning to tools, to lead gen, to financial planning, to hiring, to social media. And my personal marketing coach, who's doing 2 sessions with us in the playbook, was actually hired by Tony Robbins to his last book launch. So we have some very high level people here that are literally opening up strategies that you probably won't find in many places. So our coaching implementation system. So this is the biggest benefit, I would say, to this. Look, with our system, it's no longer feeling like you're drinking out of a fire hose. If you've ever sat through coaching, you've gone through session after session, you constantly feel like you're trying to catch up. You'll always know what to implement and when, and you'll be able to prioritize what you're learning in coaching to ensure it's in alignment with your business. So the way that I look at it is simple. Our philosophy is we believe as a company, it is our responsibility to ensure that we do everything possible, that you're not trading time and money just for information. Our job is to get you to the destination. You signed up for coaching to go to a destination that you're currently not at today. So what does this actually look like? During the last 5 minutes, every session I do, I walk you through these steps, right? So if you look at the bottom, this is just part of it. We will teach you how to do takeaways that prompt your brain to anchor you into where you need to be to take.
Do your coaching. Do your coaching.
Second
I'm done
part,
with it. I'm done with
Okay.
it.
Is it coaching? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, it's like Chirag. I mean, it's almost done.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Cody.
Hi, Tony and
too.
Amy Dessel.
Cody and Amy Dessel, please mute yourself. So the second part in this is prioritizing what you're doing, right? So when you look at urgent, you look at important, and you start looking at how to think through this. Because look, one of the biggest challenges is understanding how to take information today that might be good for this week or something you might want to do next quarter based on your business plan. We help you create a status as to where you are in it. There's an entire dashboard that you could work off of. And we also make sure that in the session, we stop and say time block in your calendar, whether it's a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then make sure that you put the specific outcome. So by the end of every session, you're going to know if this is for you, when you have to do it, how you have to do it, and one organized system at any point you could go to implement your coaches. So for everyone on my team, somebody go and make sure you mute all the participants. Thank you. Now, I want to really show you what this really looks like. So I'm going to share my screen. So at the end of every session, right, how do we ensure that you have the right notes, that it's easy to take action, and you know what specifically to do? Well, in this whole core 4 thing is an actual data concept where we have a sheet which will help you identify the 2 main building blocks of your business. One, the sources, which is not a new concept, but most importantly, what sources make up the majority of your GCI. And then from there, that is the first part. The next session, we're on implementing it. So we go through the benefits, we go through the strategic plan, and then we break down the plan into the different areas. Here's what we do in the CRM. We provided people 2 email templates that they could just plug and play and send to their clients if they haven't been in touch with them or just to check in. And if you look at our system, this is what we do. If we're telling you to write an email, we're going to give you the email. If we want you to do something, we're going to give you all the steps laid out. Then this goes through prospecting, right? We talk about the Ford model, and here's some questions you could ask. Time blocking, scheduling, and financial planning. And at the end of every one, there are specific action steps. And if you look here at our accountability session or accountability group, there's over 400 agents that are in our accountability directory today that you could plug in and network with, right? So if you guys start thinking about this, what I want to know is, what would the benefit be to your business and life if you were easily able to fill the gap of what you're learning in coaching and what you're doing now? Like, if you look at this email, it works. This woman, Casey, took our email literally in the call, and this was in the chat, just sent an email to a client using the template, and they called me within seconds and said they're ready to list their home. Like, if you have any questions about how this works and how easy it is to do, reach out to Casey, Taramina, and SoCal. This literally happened yesterday on the session. So when you start thinking about business, let's talk about ROI, because people really care about metrics. I care about your business growing and your life growing, because when you're working by strategy, they both happen together. So if her average sales price was $500,000, based off that one thing, depending if she paid monthly or paid in full, she's looking at a 278% to a 357% ROI. And the higher your price point is, the higher the ROI is based on one sale. So the question is this: if you had a done-for-you system, every email template, every single script, a coaching implementation, action steps at the end of every session, at the end of 6 months, do you think you could do one deal? We're going 80% of the way. All you have to do is show up at minimum once or twice a week, and then implement in a time block something you learned every week. And if you do that, you can ensure the growth of your business. Now, we don't offer the same coaching because it's not the same world. Now, our philosophy is people used to exchange time and money, and the rest is up to you. Now you exchange time and money for a destination result, which is implementation. Process information in a collective done-for-you plug-and-play system. Do you want to receive information? Do you want to implement what you learn and understand what you want to prioritize? If you're even thinking about this, this is for you. Now, the flight versus the destination. Our goal is to be part of the journey with you, ensure you reach your goals, and we want to be there every step of the way. The flight, how do you analyze your business and make more effective decisions? Let's get organized and help you build boundaries with your clients to get your time back. How do we create predictable outcomes for you and your clients? Key word for me as a coach is you. How do we create a predictable life for yourself that you can actually do the things that you wanted? There's over 1,000 agents enrolled in our program. There's nothing short of networking opportunities, and over 400 agents have raised their hand that said they want to network and accountability. There's templates, resources, and scripts. There's over 700 training videos in our portal. And then we also have scripts and role play scenarios that give you the opportunity to practice your craft. Boris is one of the most successful brokers in New York City, and him and I were doing a role play with his team on how to have effective conversations with people, where they find you to be authentic, genuine, connecting where they are. And if you're in real estate, we can do all the lead gen, but you still have to talk to people. Now, here's what happens when you show up and sign up for yourself. You're making the commitment to make more money. You'll get in front of more clients. You'll speak to clients more effectively. And you'll actually know how to implement systems and processes to improve your workflow. You'll know exactly what Compass tools to use, the exact buttons to hit, and ultimately you're going to be more productive and spend less time. Because a business coach of mine told me this, and it was one of the most profound lessons of my life. He says there are two costs. He says you can pay in time or you can pay in money, and paying in time is those more expensive. And I said, why? I said, I could figure it out on my own over time. He says, yes, but realize this. Whatever investment you're going to choose to make in yourself and your business is going to be cheaper than the cost of time. The cost of time is how much it costs for you to live your life in a month, plus how much it costs you to run your business. Now look at the two. And if you could get somewhere faster and someone could do it for you, look at those two numbers and then ask yourself, are you really willing to invest in yourself? Because if it's purely just a financial decision for you, the decision is very simple. Now, our platform's easy, it's intuitive, all of our coaching sessions are recorded, all of our resources are there. You can connect with other agents and even our expert mentors, you can connect with them there. So everything is available to you, everything is recorded, and all of our resources are there. So it's not like you're just paying just to show up to Zoom sessions. Now, what's done for you? Videos. We have a video on there that teaches you how to pitch Compass Tech. It's literally a 60-second video that you could send in a pre-written email that we have to every client before listing, and you never have to explain the benefits of technology. We have financial dashboards to show you how to cut your budget and understand where to focus your spend, and ultimately what I call the KPIs of money, the daily, weekly, monthly cost of running your life and business. Email templates, pitch scripts, marketing calendars, client checklists, productivity worksheets, everything you essentially need for your business, the whole 360 in one place. And if you see here, these agents have all seen growth. Justin's business increased by 68%. Denny Bowers, his team did about $100+ million, and he's learned ways to scale and cut costs. Gretchen, whose team does about $200 million, they sit as an entire team in Raleigh and watch this every Monday and Tuesday and sit there, and it's been the single best investment. Her team's more productive, they're more aligned, and ultimately they have more confidence. And now meet your mentors. David is an executive leadership coach. Tommy teaches team building. He's one of the top agents in Texas. Kelly White's a top executive recruiter in the real estate industry, and she's teaching you about hiring. Stephen Lippman is one of our coaches, a former Tony Robbins coach, a former Compass employee. He's a coach and he's teaching about lead gen. Joseph Wilson is a tax planner. He saved one of our clients $600,000 last year. Many of you know Andrew, the snapping realtor. And if you don't know who Jennifer Hootie is, go type her name in Google. She is literally the top internet marketer and copywriting expert in the entire personal development industry, and someone that Tony Robbins worked with to do their last book launch. This is the entire team that's available to you. When we look at upcoming topics, leadership, wholesale investing, we actually have someone here that's going to teach you how to find investor deals, fix, flip, the formulas, everything. Understand how to do your finances, understanding how to make decisions based on it, lead gen, growing your team and vision. Now, look, normally we close after the program, but today we're opening up just 50 more spots. We have over 1,000 agents, and our team cannot handle if 500 more people signed up. There is a capacity issue. And we want everyone to succeed in their business and really unlock their promise. Because if you're sitting here right now, you know there's something inside of you that if you can fill that gap, you want to get to. And that's what you really need to focus on. And look, everyone that signs up today, we are going to do a bonus session that actually walks you through a quick recap of everything that we've done. And it's really a simple investment. If you want to invest in yourself for 6 months, it's $2,500. Literally, it's a little more than $200. 6 months. It's a little more than it's around $425 a month, roughly. Think about how much money you spend on dining, eating out, Starbucks, gym member, all these different things. The question that I have for every person here is, what is holding you back? Because if you think about this logically, if all these things were done for you, how could your business not grow? How? My team has put the link in the chat. You can use your 10 by $10. You can use your marketing budget. It's fully reimbursable through the marketplace. And we have 50 spots. Once the 50 spots are there, our doors are closed and we're not opening this again till June. So I know there are a lot of agents on here who've had great success and some of them have shared. And look, ultimately, we want to help you get to where you want to go. That is our job. You know, being an agent for all these years and having young kids, you know, the one thing I realized is how valuable time is. I can go back and think of every single time I sat in my driveway on the car when I sold real estate where I should have really gone home. But what I really needed was an effective communication plan to draw boundaries with my clients to protect my time. I could think of how many times I went and tried to figure out how to be more productive in a day, but really what I needed was a 10-minute business plan that highlighted 3 things. Did I do anything that produced income? What distractions got in the way? And ultimately, how am I going to be better tomorrow? And a way to implement that every day that I was really focused on the things that matter. So there are 185 people here. That means there are 185 of you actually interested in coaching and growing your business. So we have the links here. Who's in, who's out, and who has a question? Because what I know in doing these now for 4.5 years, the people that are sitting here are the people on the fence. Is this for me? Will it work? Do I have the time? Is this worth the investment? If you look at the top agents here, these 4 did over $500 million. They believe it's worth it. I believe that any person that invests into themselves, you have to fill your cup first. And as time goes on, we're just going to produce more and more. Sharon Gill signed up. Thank you, Sharon. So who has a question? Because you guys are all kind of sitting here like, you know, I always laugh. This is like the deer in headlights part. It's a part that people are really thinking, am I really sure? If you have a marketing budget, it's a no-brainer. If you have a 10 by 10 budget, it's a no-brainer. If you're thinking of actually making the investment with actual money, not Compass money, the question is what are the consequences if you don't do this? Think about it. There is a cost to remain the same, and this is not like a sales pitch or anything else. For a team lead, it's $3,500. I'm going to put the pricing back up. It's $3,500 for teams of 2 to 10. So you can enroll your entire team for $3,500. Put this back up. And we have specific courses and tracks for team leaders. David is an executive leadership coach that's worked with Fortune 500 companies and C-level executives in 5 continents. He teaches you the skill of executive leadership because being a great salesperson and being a great leader are 2 different things. I'm in. Thank you, Renee. James, I started as an admin, recently became licensed. I'm on the fence because I still mainly work as an admin, but I want some financial independence. Seems like the hurdle to me is the cost, plus the fact I just moved into an area that I have literally no sphere. Well, look, James, what I would say to you is time is your greatest resource, and anything that collapses time will help you grow faster. So if I were you, I would sign up and I would start literally, if you have no sphere or anything, I would literally go on that accountability thing. I would start an accountability group and I would start calling people one by one by one. And I would start building agent relationships. There are agents I know, Jessica Sigmund, she's out of Westchester County. 70% of her business, and she does over $1 million in GCI, comes from Compass agent referrals. Bill, that's a great plug. Just do it. I started a few weeks ago, and not only have I learned more than I ever imagined, but I'm taking more action than I ever imagined. Tammy, our team will send you an email. Ann's in for 6 months. You 100% can use it. And guys, what I want to point out to you here is Boris, Allison, Kansas, Shelly, all of these people are here and they're listening and they're adding what their experience is like. People could be anywhere in the world. Kansas, I had several calls with her, but you know, last week and the 2 calls I've been on this week have been fantastic. I need the accountability and a fresh look at how to systematize my business. And Kansas is somebody that's been in coaching and was previously with Brian Buffini, I think, for 15, 16 years. Our approach is very different. I would just say the greatest gift that I can offer you as a coach is the fact that I sold real estate for 13 years and I had my own brokerage and I worked at Compass as an employee. And we have a company that only coaches Compass agents. And we have a mastermind group and clients that are some of the top brokers in the entire country. So literally it's like a roadmap to what's working here. So now there's 132 people. Who has questions? Who's in? Who's out? And if you don't have an interest in doing this, take your time back, implement what you learned in the webinar and drop off. But if you're sitting here, you're still unsure. So I'll stay on for a couple more minutes if anyone has questions. If anyone needs help signing up, we're happy to share screens and walk you through that. And for Allison, Shelly, Boris, thank you guys. And drop your email in the chat so somebody can reach out to you.
Chirag, I can stay on for a few minutes if anybody has questions. Hi, everyone.
All right, everyone who's sending me private emails, like please put them in the chat so that we can actually have them. Because if not, if you need an email to sign up after the call, just put your email in the chat. So I don't know why everyone's sending these private messages because we can't document them. Brian, Leslie. So Suze, we have Leslie Morrison. Oh, you can enter your email into the form. Rob Del Greco.
I'll try to capture the emails in the chat, but if everybody could just enter them into this really quick Google form, we'll reach out to you and make sure that you guys have instructions on how to register, or if you just have more questions about the playbook before you sign up, we're happy to answer any questions as well. For those asking, yes, you can use marketing dollars or 10 by $10 through the marketplace. Once you sign up for an account on the marketplace and you add our coaching to your cart, you'll be prompted to use your 10 by 10 or marketing dollars. If you have anything remaining, that'll stay in your account. If you don't have enough, you can just pay the difference. I'll also drop our playbook FAQs for anybody that has questions, wants to look around. And I'll add that Google form here one more time for anybody to enter their email. And I'll also add the marketplace link if you're ready to sign up. Will do, Bunny.
All right, everybody. If you don't have questions, I'm going to drop off. You're in good hands with Suze. Natasha, please add your email to the form so that we can keep it organized and we have your name and there's not just someone reaching out to you with no contact. So we'll send you guys the sign up link. So if you're putting your email in, we'll send you guys the link to sign up after the session. And if you guys have questions, we're always here to support you. And look, I always thank you for the investment of your time, and how I always like to end my sessions is with love in my heart. I love you all. Suze will stay on, and I hope you guys are having a great 2022. See you all soon.
2023. We're still pretty close last year. Yep, I'll stick around if anybody has questions. You're welcome to unmute yourself if you do, but otherwise, go ahead and enter your email at this link. There's also a box for you to ask your question if you have something specific, and we will be in touch. What we'll do is we'll reply to the email with instructions on how to sign up. And then, like I said, if you have any specific questions that you entered, we'll answer that. You can also reply to that email we'll send with any questions. For those asking about the difference between team leader and individual, a team leader package will give you access to include your entire team, up to 10 people. They'll have access to all the playbook coaching sessions with the exception of our team leader specific sessions that happen. Even if you don't sign up your whole team and you're a team leader and you want access to those sessions, you will need to sign up for the team leader package. Otherwise, the individual package will get you access to all of our regular sessions. Our platform is amazing. We include all of our resources and templates that we share with you guys every week. We also record every single session. So if you can't join during the week, you can always catch up on your own time. Our sessions are Mondays and Tuesdays with Chirag. It's just 30 minutes at 9:30 a.m. Eastern or 9:30 a.m. Pacific, whichever time works best for you. And Monday and Tuesday content are different. So we encourage you to, at the very least, join Monday and Tuesdays every week. And then we have a whole slew of different topics from all of our other coaches and expert mentors that you can join electively whenever you choose. I'll stay on for another minute or so, and then I'll drop off, and we will send a recap email of today's panel with the recording, the resources, and the slides. We'll get that to you guys by end of day tomorrow. All right, looks like nobody has any more questions. Everybody have a great day and check out your email for a follow-up. Bye, everyone.